than 100 million spectators have experienced a Cirque du Soleil show since its inception in 1984, including close to 15 million this year alone. Currently, there are 20 different shows being presented around the world. 7 of those are in Las Vegas. The company has now teamed with legendary filmmaker James Cameron in the 3D feature film Worlds Away. Take a look. Just spectacular.
Breathtaking.
Isn't it? And Erica Lynn's one of the stars of the movie joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
An actor brat.
Actor brat?
Yeah, or
Acrobat.
Oh, that's
actor brat. It's early for me.
Oh, no, honey, it's early for me, too.
These guys were talking about, well, how do you define what you do? And you said acrobat.
Yes.
And then I was thinking, I wonder, do you get to write that on the little sheet that they give you at the airport when it says profession?
I think I say, I think artist is what you do on your taxes.
Oh,
because
okay.
basically I think they put us all in one big pile of weird and creative. And it's good.
Right. What do you think it is about Cirque? Is it just the fact that it is such an over-the-top spectacular? Is it the fact that you can't sort of believe your eyes what the human body is capable of that has made it this phenomenon?
I think all of the above, that there are these extraordinary feats of the human body that are live on stage every night, that one, have this element of danger that kind of puts you on the edge of your seat, that anything could happen. But it's also coupled with this artistry of this beautiful live music, as well as these extraordinary costumes and the detail and the makeup, that they've basically taken a number of art forms, brought them together in this harmony that has yet to be achieved anywhere else.
Have you ever slipped?
Of course, I have fallen on my rear end and my face on stage so many times, but the key to being a great performer is figuring out how to make that part of your performance.
Right.
Ah, right. So I meant to do that.
Exactly. And the audience is like, wow, what an extraordinary talent. She must be so committed to do that every night.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Now, part of the appeal of Cirque is the live performance. So when you're watching the movie, does it take away a little bit from that?
I had wondered when we were moving forward to do this project if that was going to be a concern, because what is Cirque du Soleil without that kind of tension of the reality that this is really happening right in front of your face? But I feel like with this film and with the technology that was able to be put into it, they bring this a completely different element where you're able to get closer to the action than you ever could from even the front row of the theater, as well as you can slow down the action to such a degree that you can see the centrifugal force against a performer's face, or the detail of exactly how their hands are catching 60 feet in the air. And that, it's like taking a peek even further behind the curtain.
And it's such a visually stunning show, whether you've seen, no matter what show it is, all the Cirque du Soleil shows are colorful and just, I don't know, they kind of take you somewhere where you've never been before. So I would think it's about time that you put this on film.
Yeah, and it's great that it's 2012. The technology is at a point that it could really, truly do these extraordinary performers justice. And you're right, with all the color, with all the kind of magic and whimsy within the Cirque du Soleil world. Andrew Adamson, who did Shrek and the Chronicles of Narnia, he's the one who wrote the story and created this sort of dream world. But he said that his inspiration came from the fact that Cirque du Soleil is this thing that transports you to this whimsical, magical place. And he wanted a chance to really share that with the world outside of Las Vegas.
And the story is that your character gets to experience several different Cirque shows, right?
Yeah, she basically, it's sort of like the 7 Cirque du Soleil shows in Las Vegas are used as the setting or the backdrop for the story. And the story follows my character and a handsome gentleman. And they're kind of swept away into this dream world where they spend the rest of the film seeking each other. And, you know, it culminates in fabulous aerial artistry. It's beautiful.
I heard Leslie asking you during the break that you had been talking to James Cameron and you didn't know who it was?
Is that the audition?
It was actually, I had already been cast at that time, and it's totally true that these people all walked into a room. He introduced himself as Jim. I spoke to him for 20 minutes about really silly stuff, from like soda to movies to tattoos. And I found out about an hour and a half later that James Cameron was working on this project. Not only that, but he was the guy that I had referred to as the friendly guy in the blue shirt. And I had asked him what department he worked in, if he would be around on the film.
So did you get a follow-up? I mean,
yeah, he basically, it was perfect because it could have been a really intimidating way to meet your boss.
Yeah.
But instead, it was like, I think I said to him, but you have to be on set because you're the one who makes me feel comfortable and not intimidated. And, you know, so I legitimately liked him from the get-go, which then makes it a lot easier to work hard for somebody when you have an affection for them.
I'm sure it's bigger than life if James Cameron and the Cirque are together.
Oh, yeah, and Andrew Adamson, who is responsible for these incredible fantasy films, which is such a perfect fit for Cirque. It's beautiful. It really is an extraordinary project, and it's exciting, especially we screened it in Toronto last night, to bring it back to Canada, which Cirque is so proud of being a Canadian company, and it just feels a little like bringing the baby home to meet the grandparents. Like,
you know, the thing I love Cirque du Soleil. I love so many things about it. I mean, it's a Canadian-made company. It's so imaginative. It's so original. But something that I love as well is that when I watch gymnasts perform at the Olympics or at the World Championships, I go, honey, you're going to Cirque du Soleil in a few years from now. They got a future, you know, whereas before you do gymnastics you compete in that for about till you're 16, 17, and then you'd hang up your tights and then that's it. It's opened up a whole new world for all these different incredible athletes.
Synchronized swimmers even have a future.
Synchronized swimmers. Acrobats, gymnasts. It's just incredible. What's your background?
I was a gymnast. I was a gymnast for 11 years, and I had been in and out of theater since I was a kid. And that was the thing, is that for me, gymnastics, I enjoyed parts of it, and I loved flipping and throwing myself around and learning new things. But it was such a rigid environment, and I was such a weirdly creative kid that I was the girl on the floor exercise that people watched because I probably had a little too much flair for what was reasonable in that universe. And then this world of Cirque du Soleil, there is no NFL for gymnasts. There is no place for us to take these hard-earned skills that we've been cultivating, in my case, since I was 3, and that's very common for so many of us. And suddenly we get to take it, and then we're allowed and encouraged to inject our personalities and
expand on
it. Stop being a robot and become an artist, and really get to infuse something that that's a little more magical.
Now, we were talking about falls earlier, and so much about this kind of performance is confidence. And before you can have that confidence, you have to have that one big fall, right? Whether it's sort of during practice or while performing. Have you had that experience?
I've had, in all the years I do aerial work in particular, I fell one time. I fell 4 feet onto a padded mat, and that was it. But it's not really the falls. It's actually kind of important, in my opinion, that you occasionally have something that just reminds you that what you're doing is really dangerous, because within the world of Cirque du Soleil, there is such a regimented program for how a skill is integrated into a show, because they don't want anybody who's just crazy and kamikaze and wants to put something out there to dazzle. So you'll start with your hands on the floor when you're learning a trick, and then 2 inches up, 6 inches, 2 feet, 10 feet, and then eventually, by the time that you're putting it in front of the audience at 40, it's something that really is beyond second nature. It's like walking to you.
Ultimate trust, too, with anyone you work with.
Absolutely. Those are relationships that are like marriage with no romance between partners in the air. Like, there's an intimacy that's really beautiful. And it's cool. You can, certainly. I think definitely there are moments, but then you have to be like, let's put that aside and get down to business, because we're supposed to fall in love.
Thank you so much for being here. It's a beautiful movie. Cirque du Soleil, Worlds Away. Erica Lins, nice meeting you.
Thank you.